JD, you're saying it wrong because my wife is from there. It's
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. Come on, dude.
Nicaragua.
Okay, Barney.
Mark, your Pension Pro patch looks like a weed leaf.
It does.
Marijuana leaf sitting on your shoulder.
Oh, wrong side. I can't even remember what it is.
I need a bottle opener.
Here we go. It's game time.
Stories for stories here, guys.
Hey everyone, this is JD Carlson, author of the book, How to Tell If Your Advisor is an Alcoholic, and you're listening to the Retireholics podcast, where we share the latest information on corporate retirement plan trends, ideas, and best practices. On the show, we feature industry experts across multiple disciplines that give their unique perspective and actionable insights about what it takes to navigate the complexities of ERISA and provide a great retirement plan for their employees in a rapidly changing world. If you're a retirement plan decision maker for your company or retirement plan professional, this podcast is for you.
First off,
copyrights. There's copyrights on that intro.
And also, my buttons don't work, Brandon. JD, you said a bunch of acronyms there, dude. And you told us last week that we were starting from the get-go. So,
did anyone count how many?
I say,
or should we just assume 3?
Does anyone know what that comes from?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 401k Fridays,
yep.
or the other. You did it.
You said Joshua's name.
You have to drink for that, Justin.
What?
You have to drink for
I said Itzo.
Yeah, drink again. That's 2.
When did that become a thing?
Long time ago. Okay, Justin, suck those down, and then what I would like you to do is introduce our guest, and you out there in the audience, you're going to rate Justin on a scale of 0 to 10, and I'm thinking he's going to suck shit because his last few introductions have been phoned in.
I disagree. I thought last
Go
one
ahead,
was pretty
Justin.
good. But anyways, she's a 20-year vet, born and raised in Mafia Center, Brooklyn. She's got a bachelor's degree from Wesleyan University and a master's in management and finance from the prestigious Columbia University, where she graduated magna cum laude. She was also a tennis phenom, having been inducted in Columbia Hall of Fame. For all you tennis fanatics out there, she's currently plays at a 4-5 level. And for the rest of you, I have absolutely no clue what the hell that means, but I hear it's good. She's the founder of Fiduciary Insurance Services and executive director of Institutional Retirement Income Council. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Richter.
Thank you very much for having me.
That
It was mostly accurate.
He makes up a few things from time to time. That was actually really good, Justin. It was concise. It was free flowing. It was just very well done. I'm gonna give you a 9.5. We'll see what the audience.
So I get the high scores when I lie. Okay.
6.4.
That
too short.
That was too short and too serious, Sam.
Okay.
Michelle, we're going to be playing some games today, and I want you to be aware of these games. We're going to be playing Chat Bar Champion. Keep your eye on the chat bar, and you're going to vote someone into the finals at the end of this show. And then the audience out there, you know the deal. You're going to pick the winner. Right now, Tony's at the top of my list for his JD equals script reader. So that was a good one, Tony. Thanks for that, because it was true. You know, what the fuck? You want me to memorize? Obvious. You want me to memorize Josh Itzo's intro to his podcast? Yes, I'm drinking. I'm not going to be able to do that. We are also going to play. Well, we are playing Acrosin. So if you say any initialism, any acronym, or the name of the Gary V of 401k, you must drink from your penalty drink. And then I got another little fun game lined up for you. It's an oldie but a goodie that we're going to play today, so get ready for that. Let's dive right into it. In case you didn't know, Michelle, I'm a professional journalist person. So, Brandon, let's play headlines. Guess what, Mark?
What?
Millennials have figured out the retirement plan crisis. It's solved. Get this. 1 in 4 millennials say they're relying on crypto to fund their retirement. Chad, are you a millennial?
I know.
Yes, you
But
are.
Are you not?
Justin, in my heart, I'm not a millennial.
Hey, I'm not going to go there.
There's an article, Brandon's got it up there, 401k specialist, talking about millennials. It's pretty interesting to look at this, and I thought Chad would have some great insights.
In what world have we started caring about 25%? I would get like, it's more news if it's a majority, if it's like 65%.
Oh, it's still news.
1 in 4. We're really pulling at strings here to write an article, it sounds to me.
It's a lot of people that have a new viewpoint on how they're going to fund their retirement. Michelle, what percentage of you is relying on crypto to fund your retirement? 0%?
Yeah, I kind of see it like, you remember like the Dutch tulip craze of like a million years ago? Like, I mean, assets, have the value that people will pay for them, right? But I'm sort of really concerned about this phenomenon.
Chad, come on. Put the end cap on this. I'll set you up. A lot of these young, smart people believe in decentralization, believe in smart contracts, think that the world is going to look very different in Zuckerberg's metaverse 3.0, internet 3.0, all these things that could be 10 years out, 15 years out, 25 years out, and therefore investing in cryptocurrency might be a smart move for them.
I think it is a smart move for a small portion of your assets and not necessarily your retirement place assets. Now, am I disappointed in people that say their only savings right now, these young millennials, is retirement assets and they want to use a portion of that for a high risk, potential high return asset class? Go for it. But you can't say that you're depending on cryptocurrency to fund your retirement at this stage. It's not stable enough to make that statement. Do I believe that it is the future of smart contracts? Do I believe that it is the future of the ledger system? Do I believe it is the future of the financial space? Yes, yes, and yes. Do I believe it is the future of the investment space? Not yet. I don't.
Well, don't be boring and bring diversification into the conversation. That's no fun. Let's go to the next headline. I got this one from Tony Davis. Thank you, Tony, for finding little things out there and sharing them with us. Brandon, it's the hyped San Francisco startup article titled, well, there you go. Startup abruptly shuts down after raising $100 million in 2021. No, my understanding is this is not a 401k company, but you know what I'm going to say, right? Heads up, human interest. Heads up, guideline. Heads up, all you fancy venture capital, private equity backed disruptors. If you don't start making some fucking profit sometime soon, your investor is going to be like these guys and saying, look, we're shutting this shit down because it's leaking too much oil out the back. I'm just making up stuff, but Tony must have sent it to me because he believes that. So anyways, well, in all reality, this can happen.
So see, this is what's hard about these headlines, because I read that differently than I think how some read it. Like,
please share.
So one might read it the way you're saying it is like, hey, over time, this company raised $100 million. This could have been over the course of 5 years, 10, I don't know, right? Sure. And then shut down. But I hear they shut down abruptly after, which means to me, directly after getting this money. So where the fuck did it go? Where does money go? They're partying in the Caribbean? Like, what are they doing?
Honestly, that's how I read it too.
Thank you.
And some of these other companies that I just mentioned earlier, scenario, Mark, it would be they get these hundreds of millions. They hire.
Nice, Greg. Nice.
They hire people in the hundreds, multiple hundreds, and they spend a lot of money on stuff because they're gearing up to take over the world. And if it doesn't work out, eventually, here's another thing. And I don't know, I'm not smart enough. I didn't go to Columbia. Higher interest rates, inflation, a volatile stock market. These are all things that did not exist when these hundreds of millions of dollars were being funded to these disruptors. As the world gets a little sketchier, some of these people that are investing in these companies are going to pull back some of their, confidence and say, shit, maybe I need to kick out of this one and shut it down and move on to something else. So anyways, yeah.
A couple of thoughts on that, JD. First is most of the VC money is a one-time kick, right? So in terms of the money that came in, they're looking, thanks, Mark. They're looking for return over the long haul. The long haul maybe being 3 years or so. So I don't think that the venture capitalist groups are the ones pulling the plug. I think that the business is looking and saying that what we created, our minimum viable product, proved to not be a minimal viable product. People don't want it. It's not working. We're not going to get over that hump of making money. And so we have to pull the plug. Now, to your point with this disruptors, we all know the business well enough. Michelle, I'm sure you know it better than all of us. The margins on what they are currently doing are not enough to sustain the rate of return that these investors, these venture capitalists want. So there's something else there. So you're right, JD, if they keep operating like they are, eventually they're going to run out of funds to continue to stay afloat because their margins are too tiny right now.
Chad, I think you got one thing a little off there, is that they do keep going back for more money. They go to their Series B and their Series C and the whatever it is. Like, they keep going back for money.
Not the same investors, though.
Because it's fine. Because this first suckers aren't going to do it again and reach deeper into their pocket. They got to go find some other ones. But I also don't think that it's the people running the company that are going to decide to shut it down. It's the investors that are going to say, we're no longer giving you any money. Similar to the big investor at WeWork that kind of made that thing all blow up. Great documentary to watch, by the way.
Documentary or the movie they made?
Oh,
Which
sorry.
one?
You're right. Movie. The one with Leto.
Leto.
Leto. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Let's go to the next headline. This is Pantera and Mutual Group launch new partnership. I don't even know either of these two companies. But I was on planetvisor.com and look at Michelle get into this. What's that?
Yeah, that's okay. So
yes.
Pantera, I think that's such an interesting setup, because it opens up the world to wealth managers, to manage plans directly without taking client credentials.
So Michelle's right on this, so she's aware of this.
Fill me in, please.
Yeah.
Please,
so. Remember the old Bloom, BLOOOM, and how they could access a 401k participant's account, whether they were with Voya or Principal or Empower or whomever?
Yeah, they just need login credentials.
Yeah, we thought that was pretty interesting. So this is technology that will allow financial advisors to almost act like Bloom, but on an independent basis, and to access a 401k participant's account and manage it.
That's great. Can we let Michelle tell us about it though, please? Would much rather hear from her.
Yeah, I do. I think it opens up the universe for wealth managers, like I said, to be able to effectively manage 401k assets. And we all know that they've been giving advice on that for years on doing their best to try to help clients affect those transactions without breaking the law. But this does make it quite a bit easier and fully compliant.
Is it scalable though? Like, I don't understand what's happening that makes it more reasonable to think if I've got 300 private wealth clients that I'm going to be able to help them manage their 401k in a scalable way.
I think it's more of a recognition of that, with the convergence of those communities, that there is already a massive population of wealth managers who surreptitiously provide that advice. I think it's like bringing above board of what's already occurring. Like, their client base already has most of their assets in their 401ks.
And so do you think most of the advisors, Michelle, when they're helping clients that aren't their 401k clients, they're their private wealth clients, and they're helping them invest 401k assets, that they're doing it as a one time or maybe a once a year at most look, because
No.
it's not active, right?
Well, that does depend on whether they're an advisor or a salesperson, right? So a person who's acting in the capacity of advisor is doing that on an ongoing basis, or should be under the regulatory regime.
That can't be scalable though.
I want to
It's
tackle
like-
that with you later. I want to tackle that because
Oh,
that's
man, I
What's
love
the
that.
price point? What's the price point
I
on
don't
this?
know.
I think it's north of 20 basis points.
I don't know.
And that's what's like
I don't know.
potentially not scalable.
I'm not sure, but I think I was more interested in showing it to everyone and then almost like tackling Vito's question in the chat bar of like, well, how do they get into my account? My take on this was, look, there's new safe technology that will allow for this. So it doesn't have to be that old school way of, hey, why don't you text me your password and your username to your account?
Right.
It's kind of like banks these days. Like you can go online and apply for a loan or a home loan, and it can all be figured out within minutes because it's scaling through all these accounts through this kind of secure technology, which in a bit sounds scary, but to me is very like modern and kind of the future of the world. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. It's like, hey, look at this. This is a potential new pathway that we haven't been down before that could open up all kinds of creativity and ideas and services and solutions. So
what about the headbutting though? Against, you got the plan advisors and they hear they got that, private wealth going there, like that private wealth trying to go after the whole plan itself.
Here we go.
Imagine if you have multiple.
Love it.
That's
We've
always
got this
been an avenue.
world.
Yeah, but now they have direct access to it, right? Too.
Yeah.
They're going to see everything they want.
We got this world, man, of that.
Yep.
And that's well put, Justin. We talked about this ad nauseum, where we've got this world where these participants can get services from all kinds of vendors now, right? Record keepers, third parties, the advisors, and now even an independent wealth manager that's on the outside. And by the way, who's not to say that a 401k advisor wouldn't use this technology for their clients down the line? So it doesn't have to be a competitor. So anyways, I don't, just food for thought. Yep.
JD, on the topic of bridging the private wealth and the 401k guidance relationships, did you see the post that I threw up from Brian from 401k Specialist Magazine's right up on the four takeaways from the National Association of Plan Advisors? I almost skipped into that one. And I'll give you the short abbreviation. I put it up on there. I shared it. He essentially said one of the advisors shared one of her biggest ways of creating new revenue is to send out a birthday card to every committee member that she's on the 401k committee with that says, hey, happy birthday. Happy to be a part of your team. Want you to know that I work with other members of your committee. I can help on the private wealth side. There's a lot more that I could do to be a resource for you. And we've talked about that for years, the whole hashtag.
Can I ask? So the innovative tool was to send a birthday card?
It's not
idea?
an innovative tool.
It's actually really clever. I saw
That's
this.
innovative,
I saw your
for sure.
post.
It's not a
idea.
tool. It's not a tool.
Sorry, wrong choice of words. Wrong
sure.
choice of words. The innovative concept / idea was to send a birthday card.
JD, for the last 20 years, your approach for bridging the gap for 401k advisors to get the private wealth of the committee is to be really good at the 401k side of things, and then over years chip away and get that relationship.
Never mentioned
This
a
is
birthday
quicker
card
way
though.
of doing that.
I never
I'm saying
mentioned a
this is
birthday
quicker,
card.
easier way of doing that.
Sounds stupid to me. Was there something else they said?
No, you're wrong. You're just
Just
wrong.
how effective it was.
Chad, guys in black and white suits 30 years ago were sending birthday cards to people wanting to do business with them.
It's specifically the committee members that they already have relationships with, that they
Right.
have their birth dates, they have access to. I don't see people marketing in that way.
Michelle,
for
you
their
seem
committee
Michelle,
Dog
you
it
seem
until you see how effective it is.
Michelle, you seem to be pro birthday card. Is that your vote? Your pro birthday card?
I'm not saying it's a genius move. I'm just saying it's relationship, and there's something to that.
Fair enough.
To the extent that you already have one, the acknowledgement that it's there is important.
Yeah.
The
And I'm
acknowledgement
just
that you are there is important.
Right.
and I'm just an asshole. If you send me a birthday card, I'm just like, what a dick. Why you send me a birthday card? Michelle, let's move on. I would like for you, if it's okay, Yes. Oh, beer of the episode. Mark, you are the beer of the episode guy this week. Tell everybody what you're drinking and how you like it.
Well, first off, I've finished my beer of the episode pretty much. And I don't get a cool graphic like Justin did last week because nobody told me I was doing this, but I've got Dust Bowl Brewing Company. And yeah, everybody, it's a fruit beer. Okay. It's watermelon. If you can see that. And if you don't like watermelon, you're lame. Okay. It's delightful. It's got hints of watermelon and beer.
Beer.
Tastes good.
How many?
I like how you got so defensive because you knew what people's thoughts were going to be on if you just say it's a watermelon beer.
I aggressively defended myself for no reason. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 5 robes, how many robes do you give it?
2.7.
2.7 robes. Okay, sounds like a good one to look for, people at your local store. Michelle, Institutional Retirement Income Council. It's not a new thing. It's been around for a little while. I mistakenly thought it was something new, and I thought with kind of the resurgence, the new kind of push for guaranteed income and retirement plans, that this was like this new group getting together to help kind of push this concept, but I think I missed it. So let me know and let everyone know, what is this sucker and what's going on there?
Okay, well, the Institutional Retirement Income Council is a nonprofit think tank. It was formed by Prudential about 6 years ago, I think, or is initiated by them. And it currently has 12 sponsor members and about an equal number of invited advisor members. Meets 6 times a year, and we advocate for income derived from defined contribution plans. We're not in a formal advocacy group. We're not a lobbying group. We're not we're not an official giant industry organization. We're an aggregation of sponsor members and advisor members who care about deriving retirement income from defined contribution. So we publish papers. That's a lot of what we do. We share thoughts in the room, and it's incredibly important to my board that we keep it a space where it's safe to discuss controversial topics, and that it stays sort of an intimate group, if you will. There were other things that I'm involved in that you might have mistaken for that organization's work, which is a great organization's work. But so I wear a couple of hats, as you mentioned before. So I serve as the executive director for that organization. And I also run my own strategic consultancy to the financial institution industry, to insurance companies, and to academics.
It sounds like I wasn't too far off on that group then, which I think is smart. And tell me if this is kind of the push for this group, is if we think income in 401k is important, which I think most people do, the debate just centers around how and kind of the details of it.
I don't think that most people do.
You don't? Okay. Well,
No.
I want to talk more about this. But it's, if the industry wants it, which I would think the industry would, because if you're record keepers, you'd love to hang on to those assets and plans. But to do that, we almost have to kind of start working together a little more to make sure that it's a plug and play kind of thing that works on a universal level. And therefore you would need think tanks and people from different areas to get together, as opposed to, I think what we've seen historically is just products competing with each other, and in 401k failing. So anyway, so that is the goal of this think tank, this group, is to move this whole initiative forward. Okay.
It's the goal of that group is to enact what was intended by the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974 as amended.
Wow. Cheater.
Which is literally retirement income is in the stinking name. So that's what it's for. Okay. And it is not meant to be an accumulation only vehicle. it has historically occurred that way. But the concerning element for those of us who work in this space all the time is that, and so I look at this incredibly scary graphic that was put together by Boston College's Center for Retirement Research. And it articulates the percentage of households that had DB plans historically relative to those that do today.
Bring her up, Mark.
And I look.
Finish your thought. Keep finishing your thought, but you owe us one.
So if you look at that, you see, so I'm looking at this from my own selfish perspective, as well as from our member organization's perspective. And I see, in my father's birth year, which was 1945, more than 50% of American households had a defined benefit pension recipient in it. And as you look, even 10 years later, which was when my mother was born, that percentage dropped to under 40% of households. And once you get to my birth year, 1979, you're at under 10% of households.
God damn, the 401k. The 401k, it's the problem.
No, you have to understand that when this occurred, so when corporations hosted defined benefit pensions, they did asset liability management because they were responsible for that.
Sure.
Now it is the case that the liabilities that used to be recorded on a balance sheet around retirement income, they were recorded on corporate balance sheets, but they were somewhere.
Sure.
It is now the case that those liabilities are not recorded anywhere. Okay.
They've been
most
pushed to
Americans
the
are not
participant.
aware, but participants don't project their own individual balance sheets.
Yeah.
So
I like this
lack of awareness of the liabilities.
Let's unpack this. I'm going to drink for both of these. Let's unpack this DBing of the DC world, because this is not a new concept. Like, we've been talking about this for a long time, 2 decades probably. Where have we gone wrong, in your opinion, historically, and what are we going to do different in the future? Because a lot of people don't think we're doing anything different even today.
I think there's still work to do. And the way that I see in order to integrate the communities where insurance has historically played and the defined contribution space. Right. So record keepers, you pointed out, are the gatekeepers to in a lot of cases, they're the gatekeepers to the consumer experience. And so, from my standpoint, the environment has evolved in the way that it has because of this lack of recognition of the liabilities that didn't go away. And so from my standpoint, what the insurance industry is the liability management industry. And it is not the case that there has historically been that perception. My industry, the insurance industry, has always been perceived as the expensive asset management industry, yes. Right? But that's a mistaken notion, because inherently, when you think about products,
I'm just happy I understand what you're saying. You speak in such eloquent terms and so fancy college, but I'm getting it, every word. Keep going.
Your language is very beautiful. It means nothing to me.
I'm totally understanding it. I'm so proud of myself.
So my industry is not the expensive asset management industry.
Yeah.
We're the efficient risk pooling industry. Okay. So what we do is we make it possible to manage the liabilities that no individual consumer could know exactly what they are, because none of us knows what our individual life expectancy is. We know only what the population
right.
distribution might look like. The insurance industry can on average project.
Are you telling me I'm not going to die at 72 and a half years old or whatever?
You're not.
Okay.
You're not. Statistically speaking, you're not going to die on that day.
I made up that number, people. I know, think that's the actuary number, but
no, your literal number is 77.25. But it doesn't. That's the number at which 50% of the population dies before and dies after.
I think what I heard from all of that is the employers used to bear responsibility, They no longer do. Therefore,
That's
there's a
right.
lack of motivation on behalf of the employers to deal with that balance sheet and that liability that you're talking about.
There's
The
also a lack of advantage to the asset management industry in general to acknowledging the point that I'm making, right? Because the asset management industry governs the left-hand side of the balance sheet, whereas the insurance industry speaks to the right-hand side of the balance sheet.
The insurance industry has the toolkit, the abilities, the business models to solve that. But I believe what I heard from you is, which is very true, but there's a stigma around insurance and annuities as it relates to fees. And we all know why that is, but it's been hard for insurance. Go ahead.
Do we know? Because I don't think we do.
I feel like we do.
Do we know what?
Do we know that insurance is expensive? Do we know that that's an accurate perspective? I don't agree with that perspective.
Logic would tell me that.
Bill says yes.
Logic would,
I don't know.
Logic would tell me that if you're
how
going to.
you view the world.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you view the role of the plan to provide for the accrual of wealth and the ability to sustain one's lifestyle in retirement, or do you view the necessary role of the plan as minimizing costs associated with asset management, which is not wealth management?
Am I hearing from you that you think there's almost a battle between Wall Street and I shouldn't say Wall Street because insurance companies live on Wall Street, but asset management and insurance is kind of fighting for, I get that. What do you think of things like Income America, Matt Wolnowitz? Are those the types of solutions that you're hoping for?
I'm hoping for all solutions that cost efficiently make it possible for income to be derived from the defined contribution space.
I love the way you talk. Okay.
So, that includes that solution, right? Yeah. My viewpoint is that I'm not specifically advocating for any one noun relative to another noun. I'm advocating for a change in framework, and that's the work that I'm doing.
Go, Chen.
So advocating for a change in framework, what I'm hearing, and forgive me, I'm trying to read through the lines, but I'm hearing two different things. One being some sort of stable insurance-based wealth accumulation within the 401k, and one insurance-based decumulation on the back end of the 401k so that people don't run out of money.
Correct.
And you're saying as a solution that we have a problem right now in the decumulation phase, because the stock market has shown there is not a problem over a long period of investing. Now, timing of investing can be different. Timing of decumulation can be
huge,
but long-term investment, not. So we've proven that accumulation is not the issue within the 401k space. Are you saying that decumulation is?
Yes. It doesn't occur. People roll over at the time of decumulation. So, and
how does that fail in the 401k space? That's what I'm missing.
Yeah. So, well, it's a failure of the ecosystem broadly, right? Because, the Department of Labor almost said it, really readily communicates that perspective that it would be better for consumers to, in certain cases, in some consumers, it's better for them from a cost perspective to remain in plan relative to rolling over into an individual retirement account.
Nice.
Thank you very much. So there's so much regulatory change that's occurring because that perspective exists. And that's also the reason why the organization that I'm communicating about exists, because we perceive that there can be a lot of value added on both sides. I feel like I appreciate retail wealth management just as much as I appreciate institutional, but I do perceive that the viewpoint right now is a viewpoint around asset management. And I do view that as a discipline distinct from wealth management. My opinion is that
I like that statement.
Wealth can accrue only to those humans who manage their assets to outgrow their liabilities. So because that's true, an institutional asset manager that bills on AUM, which is
you
professional assets.
finally did it.
That was a fantastic point.
How
Yeah,
you got
no,
to that point? Was
Damn it.
But you know what's funny
incredible.
is Michelle nails her points, and she's obviously, a thinker and has spent a lot of time looking at this from all angles. But
I'm stupid, you're smart.
But she gets she gets a lot of pushback in the chat bar. And not everyone agrees, and that's fine. I love that, by the way. Not everyone always agrees with me either, Michelle. But no. Chad, you're kind of like my dad. My dad didn't. No, my dad didn't like this stuff either. My dad thought buying these annuities and insurance was a stupid idea, but that's because my dad thought and
JD's calling you his daddy. That's great.
Believed that he could manage his own money and that he could do that over time, and he understood the risks of the up and down of the accounts. But my point, and I think Michelle's point, is 95% of people are not Chad or my dad. Like they have no fucking clue how to manage this stuff.
I want to make shirts out of everything you're saying.
But to Michelle's point, JD, and you said it right there. My dad believed he could manage his money. To Michelle's point, we're not talking about managing assets. We're talking about managing wealth. We're talking about
I meant the
managing.
same thing.
I know, but that's the general premise, though, is that we all look at this as an investment and
Bill,
not necessarily balancing wealth.
Bill,
that's what I heard.
Bill Shorey's in the Q&A said, Michelle, do you think more people are looking for a set monthly income? Or do you think more people are concerned about running out of money? So to Chad's point,
Oh, I have to pick one. I mean, I think they're concerned about both at a high level. I mean, all of the data suggests that that's the case, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I think I think it's the running.
Yeah,
I think the running out of money part is the complicated one that we're talking about because there's so many variables involved. I think the surveys.
Wait.
I think
You can run out of money?
You can if you don't retire into a secular bull market.
I also think that the surveys that tell us that participants want guaranteed income are a little bit of bullshit because they're always like, would you like to have guaranteed money every quarter? And the participants go like, yeah, I want. And they're like, 99% of participants said they would like to have guaranteed income stream. No shit. The question is, when Hancock came out with guaranteed income for life and Principal had their solution and Prudential had their solution, why did all we hear was crickets and nobody wanted to sign up for it?
Record keeping.
Record keeping was not waving the flag, promoting it, pushing it.
Nor would it.
I don't know if that could be true. Chad, do you agree that John Hancock did not push guaranteed income for life?
John Hancock did
Okay.
proprietary.
Let's say Prudential did, Empower did.
Fair enough.
Great West.
Yes,
They all
proprietary.
did.
But the challenge comes because humans change jobs, right? And then when they do, they don't desire to lose the benefit for which they paid. Right. So when it comes to be the case that only one record keeper supports a given noun, it can't be the case that noun takes over the the landscape. Right.
This is I was about to move on and we're gonna spin the wheel, Brandon, in a second. But Josh Rundle, that's an interesting question. I'm not an insurance guy or an annuity guy. I'm definitely not gonna say all of those acronyms. But Michelle, can you see that in the chat bar? Variable annuities, fixed income annuities, like what chassis is going to win? Just take a guess, an educated guess. I believe Josh is talking about obviously in the 401k space, like what vehicle is going to be the winner?
I don't think it's a vehicle that's the winner. I don't concede the framework to the nouns.
Wow, not only do you use fancy words, I like more that you go deep. You go hippie deep. That's good. Okay. All right. Let's spin the wheel of ice. Let's spin the wheel of ice. The wheel of ice.
I feel like it's going to be me today. I just have a feeling.
Damn it.
Like, Justin, do you have hockey tonight?
I think, yes.
You do? I hope it's a froze.
Yeah.
I hope it's a froze.
Yeah!
Solid. Okay, well,
Oh,
Justin
and you
Pounds.
have to mix it with the red one. What did you? Oh,
I'll do with vodka with these for these.
no, you're not.
Yes,
Hey
it
guys,
is, it is.
can you just have makers? Is it so hard to have makers on
Oh,
here?
I have makers. I just don't feel like mixing it with this.
Well, that's kind of the rule of the game, I thought.
Just
Was
for
a
good
shot
measure.
of-
What? Michelle's got makers too.
A froze maker is a shot of makers into
God
a
damn it.
pint
I'm-
glass
I'm
of smeared
going
off
to
ice.
Give
Okay,
into the fucking
let's,
peer
Michelle,
pressure.
you've,
You
in
happy?
a lot of your LinkedIn posts, and by the way, anyone out there, you should follow Michelle on LinkedIn because I've went through a history of your posts just in prep for this show, and you spend a lot of time on them. You do some solid ones, and a lot of them are just the way you talk. It's really hard for the surfer in me to understand the whole thing. I got to really slow down and read through it all, but they're deep
Very
and they're
highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
they're deep and they're good. You refer to this. You've already referred to it on this show, and you referred to it in a lot of your writing. An advisor can sell a verb or they can sell a noun.
No, an advisor can only sell verbs.
We're gonna. Oh, I love this. We're gonna talk-
Jay didn't actually read. Then he tried.
just so you know, Michelle, in my world, I consider a registered rep an advisor. But
Nope.
regardless of that, yeah, in my world, I do, and you can't tell me no. In my world, that can exist. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I want you to tell the audience, what are you talking about? Verb, noun.
Yeah. So my view is that registered representatives and agents are authorized to sell products, which are nouns, whereas registered investment advisors under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940 as amended are authorized to sell verbs. Which requires ongoing meeting with the client and such, right? So the Investment Advisors Act of 1940 authorized for the first time financial professionals to, rather than sell nouns, to be able to sell their services, which are verbs. And so because that's how I see the world, and because historically it's been the case that insurance has only been understood from the lens of the noun, the product, that's the reason why there is no, there has historically not been value to intellectual property designed in the insurance arena. And that's the reason why I launched the consultancy that I did and that I do the work that I do. From my point of view, I sell verbs. I sell my ongoing hourly services in advising institutions and academics on how to develop intellectual property to be able to profit from it. But because there is no Investment Advisors Act of 1940 for the liability management space, investment is in the name of the law. That governs the left-hand side of the balance sheet and verbs sold upon it. Because that's the case, that's the reason why product concepts have had no value in the insurance space historically. And that's the reason why I'm advocating for understanding of liabilities through the lens of those who provide advisement.
I love that. Insurance salespeople were some of the worst kind, right? They would rank down below used car salesmen on a list of who you trusted. That industry.
Why do we think it's okay to, doesn't that seem to you like an ism, right? To put all insurance professionals into a bucket of non-trusting, doesn't that seem to you similar to racism or sexism or any other form of ism?
Sure, but I would then challenge.
So I'm an insurance professional.
Hey, let me finish. I would say to you that racism exists. Therefore, if you're an insurance person, then you should know that that's how people view you. Okay,
I do.
So don't go walking. Don't. We won't make any analogies to this stuff. So
No, please don't.
The same is true of. Michelle, the same is true of Wall Street suit and ties that could be registered investment advisors. They are also ranked low on the trust meter. And so what I liked about what you said was that this needs to change,
Yes.
and that insurance needs to be looked at as more of a financial, a serious financial tool that needs ongoing maintenance and consulting, which it does, versus the way we look at it from 15 years ago is just, someone's going to sell you this policy and you'll never see them again.
Yeah.
And so for sure that needs to change.
Absolutely the case. And if it were the case that financial planning were a codified discipline where financial planning means wealth management, then it would be the case that insurance would be viewed differently. But because there's no codified framework for verb sales in the liability management space, there can be no concept of a reputable person, right, selling insurance premises without selling the container, right?
Let me ask you this, Chad. I'll counter you on that. Unless in your world of insurance and more in my kind of world of 401k, because I don't have your insurance knowledge or your history there at all. Mm-hmm. But there are registered reps, Chad, that do not legally act as a fiduciary, right? Because they're not a registered investment advisor, but they, should I say sell? I won't say sell. They use verbs. Their whole business model is about working their ass off for their clients and protecting them in an ongoing manner. And they're a registered rep, not an RA. Am I crazy, Chad?
Whoa,
No, you're not.
That was close.
No, I think you did it. I don't know.
That can occur.
No, he was good. He was good.
Just like there can occur, ethical humans in my field, there occur ethical humans in the registered rep field. And it's, we can't use those isms, right, to know that a given person is a bad person, right? But that doesn't mean that the regulatory framework is correct in how they view this. I don't agree with FINRA's interpretation of the meaning of board advisor.
I'm not saying I disagree with
You have to
any of your
use so many cuss words.
Sorry.
I'm not saying I disagree with any of your statements.
But I disagree.
I do believe JD's comments are correct. And if I, from an outsider perspective, go back to before I really understood this industry and had a tainted view of folks selling insurance, let me tell you what my tainted view was. The folks who were selling insurance were trying to make insurance fit into every financial plan. And I think that still exists. These guys know. I run into many advisors who come and say, I want insurance in the 401k. I want insurance in the cash balance. I want insurance in they're trying to find every way they can to push a product that they believe in, but into every vehicle that they can.
Well, can I jump on your doggy pile? They would many times be motivated to do that because it paid a shit ton of money.
Paid a shit ton of money, and it paid it quickly. It was early. It was up front.
But for the people who understand insurance, there doesn't exist another compensation framework until such
Understood.
time
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, the whole thing is broken. Understood that you're saying that, but I have to live in the world of what exists right now, and that's that framework, and that was the motivation, and that is why there's this stigma in retirement plan around insurance, and so it's just being honest.
But the work that is going to come to light and that has been facilitated by myself, by can I say a corporation's name if it has initials in it?
Yeah, do it.
FI360.
You're fine.
That was okay.
Okay, and CanX, and there are 9 sponsoring organizations that are signed on, 4 of which are named. There'll be a press release later this month or perhaps early in May that will communicate the work that's being done to create frameworking tools for advisors that can introduce safely, fiduciary advisors that can safely introduce lifetime income solutions.
And I think it's the right thing for our industry. I agree 1,000,000% with the decumulation problem that we have. And I see a better 401k future if we can tackle that and work on it. And I see a lot of opportunity for advisors and for vendors and to do good things. So I hear you. The system's
So that's
broken.
why I'm doing what I'm doing, because the system has historically been broken, but we don't have to see that it always will be broken, because there are people like me and like the good people at FI360 and CanX and the 9 organizations that have signed on to create this educational framework and this evaluative framework that can make it possible to understand liability management and work it into a fiduciary process and plan.
We love FI360 and
Can
no, I'm going to a fucking game. What do you want
I
to
need
say?
to ask a question, and I can ask
got
it later.
10 minutes
I can put it
left
in
in
the after
this
show.
show.
I'll put it in the
Okay.
after show.
All right, this game is called One of These Things Is Not Like the Other, and it's been brought to you by FI360. Not really.
One of these things is not like the others. One of
You explained
these
to Michelle that
things
he's the one that's gonna guess.
doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the other by the time I finish this song?
You don't have to do it by the time we finish the song. This is a specific one. We're going awards show nights. So this is from
1986 Monte Carlo parking lot radio show.
What is it? Nightmare Alley?
what's going. So are you laughing at the chat bar? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Best Picture. One of these movies won Best Picture at the Oscars. Don't Look Up, Nightmare Alley, Licorice Pizza. I've seen all of these.
What's the other one
Seen
called?
any of them?
I've seen all of them except for the one that won. Do you know which one of these won, Michelle? You're on the spot.
I literally have never seen, I don't even know that these are real movies.
And you
Sorry.
All right. Well, so the answer is no. You didn't watch the Oscars, I'm assuming.
No.
Do you know that someone slapped someone else?
No. Oh, yes, I did hear that. Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind. We'll move on. The winner was. Is it
Sorry.
Stanford said that? The winner was the one to the far right.
I thought it was Licorice Pizza.
No.
Do I have
Best
to drink for
Picture
that?
was-
What is
I
that
didn't watch
again?
it.
You don't remember the whole audience going, they go like
I didn't,
this.
Jason,
to
but
say
I feel
they,
like I'm
they won.
gonna.
Okay, let's go to the next one. We'll just bang through a couple of these.
I'm confused.
At the Grammys, this will make more sense to you, Mark. At the Grammys, these 4 people and some others were nominated for Best Rap Album. Chad, can you name each of these rappers?
No. I know Kanye.
Kanye is the only one I know.
I'm getting a feeling Michelle
There we go.
cannot
Those
either.
two.
That's Kanye West. You've got Nas. Then you've got Tyler the Creator, and you've
I
got
know
Drake.
Tyler the Creator, and
You've
I know
got Drake.
I
Okay.
know Drake because he's on NBA basketball floors all the time.
I'm just gonna go to you because I know Michelle. No, Michelle, take a guess. Who won Best Rap Album?
Kanye?
No, it was Tyler the Creator. Brandon.
Sorry.
All right, this is a great
game,
one.
JD.
We're gonna retire this game after tonight.
Wait, Tyler the Creator won again this year? Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Last one. This is Best New Artist. You know, in the past, you're talking about artists like Britney Spears, Taylor Swift.
I don't know
Chad,
any of these.
can you name any of these, Chad?
I think I feel like I know the girl in the second box.
Okay.
But
Okay. What's her?
But no.
Oh, you don't. Okay. To the far
Isn't that
left.
Olivia Rodrigo?
I thought.
Yep.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Olivia
I should have
Rodrigo.
known that. My
You've
daughter-
got-
Who are these people?
You've got Olivia Rodrigo. You've got Saweetie. You've got Billie Eilish's brother
Who the
Phineas,
fuck comes up with these
I didn't
names?
see it.
and then the Kid Leroy is the one with little horns on his head.
Okay, that's the one I recognize.
And good guess, Michelle. Olivia Rodrigo won Best New Artist. Well done. 1 out of 3. Let's move on to the next subject, shall we?
Please.
Fucking games. These fucking games.
Wow, JD. Hey, can
We
we
never had
rate?
these
Can
problems when Lamer Game was on every week.
can we rate this game, please? Chat bar, please
I
rate.
love the game, but it's got to be relevant for our audience.
This is kind of ties into what we just talked about, but you wrote a post that caught my attention about 6 months ago. I even privately messaged you because I thought it was such a like punk rock kind of, you're just highly confident, just super cool move on the internet. You do a few of these from time to time. You said, "Dear Fisher Investments," and then you literally added them so they would know that you're talking to them. And you said, "Please consider edifying." I don't know what that means, but yourselves.
Educating.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Yourselves regarding how index annuities, which you are not yet qualified to analyze, work by reviewing this piece from David Blanchett, who's a past guest on our show here. You went on to link it and went on and on and on. But then you went to say, "Many more errors in your analysis are exposed in this article. Thank you for your consideration of this educational material." Like, just really like holding their feet to the fire, saying, "Hey, you guys need to learn about what you're talking about." But it was at the end, you said,
That
"You
was
little."
David Blanchett's. Like, he's like the my LinkedIn like devil on my left shoulder who like gets me to say like terribly controversial things.
I could see how you and David would get along. You might be the number one and number two nerdiest people we've had on this show, I think, is you and David Blanchett. You said at the end, sincerely, and I quote, "An educated woman who avoids both conferences and bars because of the recorded conduct of men like at Ken Fisher." And that's where I wrote you.
didn't tag him because
you didn't tag him.
I'm not connected to him. So
And I was like, holy shit, that was baller. So I got a two-part question. One, what is Fisher Investments getting wrong about index annuities? Because I don't pay attention to like their kind of propaganda.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk a little bit about Ken Fisher.
Okay. Max, I'm sorry. Max is my attorney at Max Chat's house. Because I told him I wasn't going to do this, but I'm doing it. So, so my concern is that, because that kind of organization does not understand annuities. In fact, they advocate for, because Ken hates annuities, so should you. When in fact the data demonstrate that about 65% of the population has a preference for the attributes that include annuities. So in so saying, he is actually gaslighting people into believing that they don't want what it is that they do want. But moving on from that, when he communicates about the particular analysis that I was referring to was erroneous in a number of ways that David communicates in that article. But importantly, like as things about the product features change when the market conditions change, like participation rates and fees associated with it. And so when they produce an analysis on an asset class on which they're not regulated and on which they're an expert, they fail to acknowledge these attributes that are essential to understanding.
Well, worse, Michelle, aren't they doing it because they have a conflict of interest and they're,
yes,
they're trying to
yes, but it's
something.
not regulated that way. From my standpoint, an organization like that is may very well be performing effective asset management, but is not necessarily performing effective wealth management, because they're going to experience their revenue, if they're able to effectively market to more people who might then have liabilities that cause them to need to make withdrawals from their portfolio. As long as they're able to keep marketing to more individuals whose assets then come into that shop, they'll be able to maintain their revenues. So they perform asset management, not wealth management.
But right? Michelle, haven't you seen their TV ads? They're
they're so good.
Yeah, well, they're not like other money managers.
The argument that I would make,
they're the good kind.
Well, they're the kind that, specifically the conduct to which I was referring occurred at the Tiburon conference several years ago, where what occurred was that, the communication was that wealth management, which means the same thing as financial planning, was an ineffective means by which to get into the pants of your asset managing clients. Yeah. That's the offensive comment that was made.
The Ken Fisher
and
comment around the world.
When we focused on the offense that we experienced as women when he said that, and it's valid. I'm offended as a woman.
As you should be.
But I'm even more offended on behalf of the financial planning, which means wealth management industries, because in this audience, he's communicating, he literally said, financial planning is an ineffective way by which to get into the pants of your asset managing clients, right? Doesn't that seem to you equally offensive to women
Right,
as it
it's
is
not
to financial planners?
To the industry.
And
Yeah.
and doesn't that immediately make you feel suspicious of the motivations of that person?
Is there?
So, go ahead, John.
No, JD. I have quite a few things, and I'll continue to write them down. So now we're going.
It's
to
5:30. It's 5:30.
Yeah, we'll take him to the after show. I'm with you, Michelle. Fisher Investments, to me, Mark was making the joke about the ads, and I was kidding. Is they've got this ad where it pisses me off because they're basically talking shit on financial advisors and talking about how they're different than these money managers. And I love their
fee-based.
I love their slogan. Yeah, fee-based, Chad. Well, their slogan is, "We do better when you do better," which isn't that just code for, as your assets grow, my fees grow. Like I make more money. It's so funny that they've turned that into like some like feel good statement or
But
something.
know
But
why?
that's gonna-
Timing.
Yeah.
Timing of that, by the way, if you acknowledge, timing of that was when Schwab came out and said, we will essentially return commissions if we're not making you money. And then Fisher came out and immediately said, we make money if you make money. They were trying to play off Schwab's statements, Schwab's commercials that were getting a bunch of airwaves. And they're not returning commissions when the market goes south. But that's what they were trying to play off of, JD. Which
And to
would mean
Jim's
they're
point-
not fee-based, by the way, right? Because the other part of that commercial is about them being fee-based. But if they're attached to the assets and making more money as the assets grow, then they're likely still charging an asset-based charge. They're charging a percentage-based fee and not a flat fee.
And they go nuts. They go, to Jim's point in the chat, they go nuts on the fiduciary thing, which does bother me sometimes.
Fiduciary of what? Fiduciary of asset management, not fiduciary of wealth management.
But that's what I
Yeah.
want to talk about in the after show.
And that they're a fiduciary and that your manager is not, or something. Like it's funny, but that's advertising. Let's go to Chat Bar Champion. Justin, I'm going to you first because I always do, and you can't pass this time.
Jesus Christ, you act like I do it all the time. I'm going with Lauren.
Lauren.
Yep.
Okay.
Educational night from Lauren.
It's good to have him back too.
Well done, Mrs. Brand Rep. Chad, your vote for Chat Bar Champion.
I wrote down a few. I'm sticking with my early one, which was Brian Williams, supporting me on the B-Day card, but specifically saying, send me a card that says my wife's birthday is in a week, so I know I need to go get her something.
He's not here.
that.
He's not here anymore.
Okay, well then I'm changing my vote to, actually I had Doug Tan Man with JD is going to die at 72 being eaten by a shark comment.
Tannis Man alive. Tannis Advisor alive. Mark, your vote for Chat Bar Champion.
Mrs. S. Words.
Mrs. S. Words. Michelle, your vote. Send someone into the final.
Webby for Sheepshead Bay.
Webby.
Some B&T guy.
Wow, this is going to be a big one. Okay, so I'm going to throw Tony Davis in the mix.
Tony was solid all night.
He started strong, he finished strong. Brandon, sorry about that. That's 5 candidates for Chat Bar Champion. Throw it up, and you out there in the audience, you're going to vote. Then I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. Then Brandon's going to play a song, and then we're going to go to the after show and get into all kinds of trouble. Here comes the votes. It's Mrs. S. Words, not Mrs.
I can't vote.
No, you can't vote.
No, you cannot.
Aw.
I love that he spelled Lauren Lauren. Sorry, Mrs. Brandrup. It's been too long, I guess.
It's become a thing.
It's close, sort of.
I-
Can you guys
JD,
see the
did-
votes come in, or just me?
No,
No,
just
only
you.
you can see. votes
The
come in.
winner is Mrs. S. Words. Mrs. S. Words. You know what's funny?
It worked.
Mrs. S.
Like a
Words.
palindrome.
Oh, Brandon, you're so creative.
Mrs. S. Words already has 4 mugs. She was the first one to
I did
get
not know
all
that.
4 mugs for donating to Jania Stout's little charity thing she
So
did
does that make her a winner at this
back
point?
in the day. No, because she didn't get them the right way. She got them for free.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have to send you something else, Shannon, because Shannon's got so much Retireholics shit. She doesn't need anything.
I'm happy about that.
We'll have to send her something of actual value. Yeah, something without a Retireholics logo on it. Okay. Thank you to everyone. I told you I was going to say this, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And Michelle, thanks for the back and forth, and thanks for being our guest. We're hoping you can hang out with us in the after show. If you don't, then we just talk a bunch of shit about you. So you should probably stick around.
I'm not scared.
And Chad apparently is going to play drums. Okay, so let's play us out some music, Brandon. We'll head to the after show.
When I think about what you've become, I feel so.
That chick who won the Grammy?
How
hard to use acronyms.